We can't even keep our
I'm gonna
iPhones and
trade
stuff,
in.
you
Yeah,
know?
I'm gonna trade in my Model 3 for a Cybertruck,
Oh,
probably,
I want one
because
so
yeah.
bad. I want a Cybertruck. I love the way they
Well,
look.
I yeah, a lot of military people actually have them, which isn't surprising because I mean, it's kinda like a tank, and I know they're ugly. I acknowledge they're ugly. I just like the fact that it's stainless steel, and just like if someone's gonna try to key, like people were trying to key Teslas, and Teslas have cameras. Like
Yeah, I
literally,
don't care.
whenever I park at the mall, there's a YouTube channel. I don't know what the channel name is called, but I know it's dedicated to like Tesla cameras and people doing stupid stuff with Teslas. I forget what the channel's called, but it's just like um I don't. That's why I said with Sebastian's case, I said, were there any Teslas? And I sent that to
Yeah,
TBI back in the beginning when I was talking to Simmons, Special Agent Simmons. I don't wanna leave out his title, but, I said to him about the Tesla thing because 'cause I'm like, if the Tesla's put in sentry mode, that means the cameras are recording, so, I mean, it's a long shot, but who's to say, like, maybe something was caught leaving the neighborhood at a certain time on a Tesla camera, and I don't know, just
exactly. You never know. You never know.
yeah, it's very sensitive, so, I mean, whenever I go to the mall, especially right now of late with Teslas getting randomly vandalized and, like, I like Elon because he's smart and everything else, but I mean, there's some people who they I don't like they protest outside Tesla places or they destroy other people's cars. I'm like, I like Elon, but for those of you who don't like Elon, you're not hurting him, you're hurting the person who bought that Tesla. Like my Tesla was my first brand new car that I paid off by myself. Like it's like my and like somebody already did dent the back of my car on the top of the trunk, so
Mhm.
it's gonna be insurance is luckily gonna take care of it because we reported it right away. We caught it on the camera, the person throwing a rock at my Tesla. Um, I'm gonna have to post that one day because it's actually stupid, but, we have to wait till after court happens, then I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah,
But it was just
definitely.
2 17-year-old kids, which is another reason why I can't post it yet. I have to wait till they're 18 to do it, but, like, they were just idiots. I'm like, "Why?" Like, if you don't like Elon, you're first of all, you're 17. Do you even know anything about Elon Musk? And second of all, you're not hurting Elon, you're hurting me, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I don't get a lot of people that are not fans. They take it out on the cars, and it's a car. There's different reasons. People might not like them. They might like them. They might not even care, right? But you're wanting the vehicle.
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't look and see where that
I
channel
have the
is.
Model 3, which is, like, the yeah, I have the Model 3, it's the entry level, but I mean, I like it because, like and it's not because I'm like I have an F-150 and then I have a Tesla Model 3, which makes n they're complete opposites. It's just like people look at me, they're just like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I love having a truck, but the Tesla's so fast and it's easy and it's just, like it's cheaper because, like, if my battery is near dead, let's say, like, my battery's, like, 10%, I pull into a supercharger, it's, like, $5.85 to fully charge it, like, compared to my F-150 where it's like $60 to
Oh,
fill the
forget it.
tank, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I used to have the Dodge Ram, and I drove it all the time, and I loved it. I absolutely
I
loved
agree,
that.
KJ Mack and Jazz said our lovely governor's assistant keyed a bunch of Teslas and they're not gonna what the hell?
I think it's because I'm short
It's
that I just
destruction of
like.
property, like, it's just like, what the heck?
I was just surprised about how he says they gather all the information for the cloud that helps the robots, and I'm like, no, stop with the robots.
Yeah, I mean, sure, robots are cool, but I don't know. To me, this goes back to, like, think of a carpenter, think of the Amish in, like, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You can't have a robot replicate the authenticity and just, like, I don't know, just, like, there's something about, like I love going to Lancaster and, like, buying furniture from the Amish. There's just something really cool and authentic about, like, having that versus, like, something that's made out of a machine, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I
and
don't
also
see
the
the
Amish,
channel, but
that's
I
not
do see a
creepy like
lot of them.
robots are. So the Amish are actually very, very nice. They're just like people think they're weird, but I mean that's their culture. It's just like they're very quiet, they're very humble, and they just love to work. Like, they're raised to work from such a young age, and, like, that's why I love getting, like, it's expensive, but of course it's worth it, because think of the man hours that go into that versus, like, this robot here could probably carve a table in, like, an hour. It's not the
Oh,
same thing.
oh, the job. It's gonna hurt jobs for sure. Why? This is scary. That's horrible. I didn't know it was getting that dangerous for people with Teslas.
Yep.
Room.
This encounter has left this mother pretty shaken up. She's just grateful that things didn't escalate physically. At the same time, though, she's afraid to drive her car anywhere, as we're seeing a growing number of incidents targeting Tesla owners, not just here locally, but nationwide.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully by myself.
Lee was on the way to
Yep.
a doctor's appointment in Linwood Wednesday morning when she
I
says
took-
all of a sudden a driver behind her just laid on the horn as they came up to a red light. Things spiraled out of control when a white SUV followed her and cut her off, stopping in the middle of the road.
Gets out and walks straight up to my door window.
Yep.
So I
What?
cracked my window and I said, what is the problem? And he goes, you need to sell your
Oh,
car.
he's gonna he
This is a
mm.
Nazi car. You're driving it.
It's like he had a crowbar.
She says she's been driving a Tesla for the last 2 years. She says the man wearing a camouflage jacket and a ski mask.
Did you hear what he
attacked
said?
her
He
off
said
the
this is
Really
a
sad, like, that this
NAZI car.
Yeah. Oh my
this is
God.
what's happening
That's so
to people who
messed up.
honestly,
I had no idea this was going on. I'm gonna have to look into this. That's awful.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Yes,
The
it is.
entitlement
AJ.
is just like,
It's gone too far. That's too much. Ugh.
just 20,000 worth of damage. Jeez.
I had no idea it was this bad. Hello, blind Talon.
Oh, it's really bad. They're setting them on fire in, like, California and Arizona. It's bad.
Wow, there really was a pizza machine, a vending machine with pizzas. That's interesting. I didn't honestly know what was happening. Blind Talon, be nice.
Yeah, I don't know why they're, like, destroying things either.
Whoopsies. I got kicked out of my own
I
studio.
was like, what just happened?
I have no idea.
All of a sudden, R and I were bigger. I was like, oh boy, okay.
Somebody got mad about us talking about Tesla.
The robots took over. They're just like, well, listen, what were you doing?
Oh, I had some wacky guy in here last night, or a woman, or AI. I have no idea. Going on and on and on and on, and I couldn't. The StreamYards would like not end. I was laying in bed. I had music on low, and I'm like, this is never going to end. This chat is never going to end. It was the craziest thing. It was just comical. It's like Murphy's Law. It's
They're
really
listening. They're
comical.
just like, how can we make your life more difficult for you? Let's just keep your computer going.
Right? And they were like, oh, this moon person. It was like a moon man, space man, we were calling him. He's like, just don't block us. That's the only thing that gets us mad. And it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just walking around looking in your house. I'm like, oh, this is just great. Astro projecting and all this at 3 a.m. Love the conversation. Makes you feel good.
Yeah, if there's a robot outside my house at 3 a.m., I'm sorry. I'm not making it off my
No.
property. I'm just like,
I was trying to look up, like, I was like, well, how do I look this up without putting like a flag on myself? Like, how do you protect yourself against the robots? What do? Water guns aren't going to work. They're bulletproof.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you like dig a moat around your house like the old days?
I guess, or get like get an AED, but then you got to get close to it. Get a taser or something. I guess the one that shoots the prongs.
Right? Can you imagine in
Taser
10
and short circuit it out.
That's going to be the combos we had. Whose robot broke into my house?
Oh yeah. Well, Pennsylvania, we have castle laws. We have stand your ground laws. So like if I mean, I don't know where it falls with as far as robots go, but as far as human beings go, it's like I forget what the castle law is. It's like you have the right to defend your castle or something like that. You don't have to retreat. You can stand your ground or something like that. Because like some states, like, oh, you should just go in your house and lock your doors and hope the person goes away. Pennsylvania, I think the castle laws means you can defend your castle. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm sure it applies to humans and robots both. But I, there's no robots near me, luckily. So, but I've heard of robot cafes. Like in Japan, there's a YouTuber who my little cousin follows. His name's Ryan Trahan, and he does like these like I stayed in like 1-star hotels, and he'll do like 4 1-star hotels instead. He'll like do a funny like he's an awkward funny kid. And the one cafe he went to in Japan had robots delivering food and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, like it's just I don't know.
Oh yeah, the androids are all over, right? In Japan and stuff. They're everywhere.
They don't need
I
sleep
have
or food.
seen
Yeah,
them all
that's
around.
scary.
They have them in the hospitals. They have them as receptionists. They're all over the place.
Yeah, we're
I
too dependent
I don't
on
like it.
technology. It's really scary how like the internet runs like our hospital computers and like life support. It's just it freaks me out like the power of technology. That's why in the military we still do like we're going to do land nav without your phone, compass and map, here you go, or basic survival skills. Um the military doesn't even really do that. Well, they weren't until this new administration. Now they're pushing that out again. Before it was all PowerPoint stuff. It's like that's not helping me be a better soldier, you know? So if
No,
I get
exactly.
if I get dropped into like yeah, if I get dropped into like Ukraine or if it ever comes to it, Russia, and like I'm in the middle of like the woods, PowerPoint's not going to help me do anything. Like it's just like, what am I going to do with that? So that's where they sent us
Oh,
to SEER school, which is where SEER school. I think I talked about this last time. SEER school is where you basically learn to survive if you're trapped behind enemy lines. They put you through different scenarios on how to survive. And it's just it sucks going through it, but in the end, it's like, you know what? At least now I know how to do this or this or this. So, I
well, we don't
think
know the days we
I'm
can
glad
get
we're going
in,
back.
right? It's so important to just be
Bye,
grateful every
Jess.
day. Every day is such an
Yep, and
something. Bye,
yeah,
Jazz.
and thank you to your son for what he's doing. What's your is your son branching? Did you say he's branching infantry or?
Yeah, he's crazy. So he left the program with the Marines because they weren't going
Yeah.
to ship out. He didn't want to wait anymore. And they weren't, I think their training, they
Did he
said
go to
that
AIT yet, or did he do basic? Okay.
yeah, he's done with basic. He's doing the AIT now. And then he's going to the
Oh, nice.
airborne.
Where's he ever? Oh, he's at Benning or whatever it's called. I still call it Benning, but
No, they switched it back
Georgia,
to
right?
Benning. Real. Yep, they switched it back to
Oh,
Benning while
good.
he's been there. Yeah. And then he's going to go to Campbell because he's hoping to get in for the Ranger School.
Oh, he's gonna with the 75th. That'd be really cool.
Yep, he's going to Campbell. I have
Yeah,
to go read all
Rangers are
the
awesome. Like they're
That's
freaking
what he
elite.
really
So, he so okay, so how long is his AIT at Benning? Is it probably like a 12-week course?
Yeah, it's till July.
I'm trying to remember how long. Okay, yeah, for military police, our AIT wasn't our when I was enlisted, our AIT I think was at the time 11 weeks. I think it's shorter now because they realize they don't need to go as long as they do. But yeah, that's awesome. That congratulations again for him graduating, going on AIT. That's really awesome. And I know it seems scary, but he's going to be looked after by his squad leaders and his commanders and his platoon sergeants. They're going to take care of him, especially if he's not that other MOSs don't do this, but the infantry corps, they call them Queen of Battle, which is because artillery is king of battle. I never understood that, but I mean that's from like World War II days. But infantry guys, they look after each other. Think about what it was like for those. Have you seen Band of Brothers? How it was like for those guys, and like literally like the brotherhood those guys had. So I
Yeah.
mean, infantry guys, we all look out for each other, but there's just I'm not infantry, obviously, but I've witnessed infantrymen working together, and there's just a bond there that's just like, as the military, we all have a common bond, but with infantry guys, there's just something special because of what they experience together. But they're there together, and they're gonna help each other out. And if he gets to go to Ranger School, that's awesome. Maybe see if he can go to if he can go to he's probably going airborne right now, I'm assuming, but if he can get into air assault school, which is where I went,
Yeah. That's what he wants so bad.
oh, I
He
loved air assault
had so
school, but
many options, and that's all he wants to do. And my brother and our cousins are like, "What are you doing, JJ?" Because you know how you do your ASVAB and you do all that, and it gives you all the old things.
yeah.
And no, that's what he wants. This is what he wants.
Hi, little Miss Sharon. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I encourage him to go to as many schools as the Army's going to offer to him. You know, go to air assault, go to airborne, go to Pathfinder school. Go to all these schools because they're going to be great. I mean, especially because he's so young right now.
Oh
And
yeah.
they
Well,
get the
you know what
experience.
happens. How often do we have, so many that go into like 11B and all different branches, and then when they're done, they're working at the grocery store. It's heartbreaking, right? They learn all this stuff, but then there's no jobs.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying like tell them to go to like Pathfinder school, go to airborne air assault, go to anti-terrorism, or I guess it's called counterterrorism now, which is what I went through. That'd be great if he wants to get into like FBI or CIA or any type of like work, counterterrorism,
Yeah, that's
anything with
something.
cyber, anything that they're all
Yeah.
about now. So
Yeah, he wants to make a career out of it. His passion, obviously, is the
good.
dogs. He's grown up with his
Oh, so
shepherds, and
yeah,
yeah,
um,
his
yeah.
passion.
So
But he has years
okay,
after, right? Like our cousin, he's now Homeland, but
oh
he
yeah.
did like 15 years, and he did a career, and now he's doing Homeland. So he's going to have two different, so when you start young, if he plans it right, he could do a lot of things that he wants. And if he doesn't like something, that's what you're saying.
He
That's
can
the good
branch
thing.
transfer.
Yeah. And you're only in
Yeah, I mean,
contract like 3 to 4 years. So,
yeah, and
it's
also
not.
keep in mind, if he does do his full 11 Bravo contract and he wants to extend, he can always branch transfer to a different branch. And just so he knows, he never loses that 11 Bravo MOS because some people get freaked out. They're like, oh, if I switch my MOS, am I going to lose? No, you don't. That doesn't happen. So you keep your MOS. So like he would be, if let's say he wanted to become a 31 kilo, like what I was, a military working dog handler when I was enlisted. Let's say he was 11 Bravo and then he transfers, so he would have both MOSs. He'd have the 31 kilo MOS, and then he'd also have the 11 Bravo. Actually, he'd probably have a 31 Bravo because he would go to the Military Police Academy first, and then they would send him to like then they'd send him to the kilo course because the military canine course is completely separate from the military police school. Because I had to go to the military police school first, and back when I was enlisted, 31 kilo wasn't a designated MOS yet. It was like an additional duty at the time. So it's like you went to the Bravo school, then they sent you to the course. But you were just a 31 Bravo. Now there's the whole 31 kilo MOS, which is newer. So he would go to the MP Academy to be like an MP, but then he'd go to like the 5-week canine course. So he'd technically have 3 MOSs if you think about it. You'd have the Bravo, the 31 kilo, and then you have the 11 Bravo. So that'd be awesome for him to have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it's a process because that's what he's saying. He's like, I'm not going to get my hopes up just in case, because like he said, a lot of people, that's what they want to get into. And I'm like, yeah, but you have time, you have time to put your time in.
Yeah, if he can get a Germany deployment, I would highly suggest that over anything else because I went to Germany. I went to the Middle East first. I went to Gitmo, and then I went to Germany, and then I went back to the Middle East again. But Germany was a great deployment because you're working with foreign allied nations. So if he can get in a Germany deployment, That'd be it's called tourofduty.com. If he goes on there, it lists like all the active duty tours that are looking for certain MOSs. I would get a Germany tour if you can, just because Germany was a
That's where
great
my
country.
cousin is right now. He's finishing a tour of Germany.
Oh yeah, I was in Bremerhaven, which is kind of up more north. Oh, it was beautiful up there. What is Denmark, right? Is it that Denmark that's just right there? But it was beautiful. They have a climate museum there, is what it's called. I forget what the German name is called, but in American English, it's the Climate Museum, and it's like 100 something rooms, and like you walk through each room, and it's like set to different climate. Like there's an Amazon rainforest room, and like it literally feels like you're in. It was so cool. I'll have to send you pictures, but get a Germany tour if you can get one for sure, because he gets to work with allied nations, and he's gonna have to.
Yeah, he had a
if he
couple things from Italy. He was like, "No, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
want to do
Italy's
that."
a great one too. Italy, Romania is another good one. I went to Romania. I don't count that as a deployment for me because it was only there for like a month. I went to Latvia for 2 months. That's not a phenomenal tour because Russia's right there, but I mean, it was cool to experience. Yeah, I did a lot of Europe stuff, which I don't talk about a lot because I mean, it's just like I don't know. I don't talk a lot about my service just because some people just think it's bragging. It's not. It's just it's what I know. You know what I mean? So like just like
No, but
um
I enjoy it. It's a part of who you are. I don't understand. Just ignore them. They're hateful, jealous people, in my
well,
opinion.
remember last time I was here, I had to explain the whole canine gator quote unquote retirement story for like the 18th time, and you were like, I've heard this story like 10 times already. I'm just like, I know that just people want to just be weird, I guess.
Oh yeah, I could have. Remember, I could tell it for you.
Yeah, and I think I was trying to be polite, and then that person wound up not being very nice to me later on in the day. But I mean, I was trying to be polite. I mean, that's all I can do, right? So it's just I don't have hate in my heart for anybody. I just do I disagree with people? Oh, absolutely, we all do. But it's just like I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff going on right now, and I don't know. I
Oh,
appreciate you welcoming me into your chat on your panel because it's just nice to talk to people about other stuff too. I always see little Miss Sharon and KJ Mack and in chats, and I appreciate everyone saying hi to me too.
yeah, it's really sad because we don't know what's going on, and we don't know. Everybody's just at the end of the day. This is YouTube, and there's a lot of people, that are also characters, and it makes it hard because you don't really know. But
Yeah, I
Sebastian,
don't. Somebody asked me, they go, "What?"
and that
I don't
makes
know.
it
I
different.
just,
I
yeah.
was going to ask you
I
about
hope
that.
he's found. Or
I know. I was going to ask you about the landfill thing with the dogs. They
yeah.
literally seen them track electronics. I forgot all about that.
Yep. And like somebody, I'm not gonna say the account on X, but there's one account in particular who I'm sure you've seen around that's been like trolling, especially me hardcore. It's weird. Well, now that I know who it is, I guess it's not that weird. But they were fighting me on this whole like electronics thing. So there was one person in particular I noticed on a panel that was hardcore bashing the whole landfill search stuff, and I'm just like, whenever people do that, I'm just like, I side eye it, but I'm like, why are you so insistent that people get triggered by certain things? You know what I mean? So it's just like I mentioned, landfill search, and not like it's been coming up a lot lately. Again, the landfill search.
Yeah.
So I mean, law enforcement's not going to tell us if they found something, and I wouldn't expect them to. Personally, yeah, if you go back and listen to Craddock when Nick Barris asked him about the landfill search, and he says Nick Barris asked him if it's of evidentiary value, and I forget how Craddock answered it. Honest to God, I think the reason however Craddock answered that is because the timestamp was messed up, and I don't think you can present that in court knowing that the timestamp was messed up. It doesn't provide an accurate. That's what I think. Some people are just like, "Oh, it was nothing." I'm like, "No, I think what he was saying is of no." He didn't say it was nothing. He just said it's of no evidentiary value. I listened
Because
to
it was altered. Exactly. Because of something being
Mhm.
That's what I've been saying. Like, I'm gonna have to pull up some research and do a show and just discuss things again, like on how things can get messed up, right? What, how many times things can't be entered into court, how much it won't be allowed, how many things evidence gets destroyed, right? I
Yep.
feel like a lot of people like don't even, they're not even thinking about all that.
Yeah, and that's why I say foul play doesn't necessarily mean they were looking for a deceased individual. Foul play could mean
Yeah.
destruction of evidence. That's foul play.
Mhm.
So it's just I don't think people and like I was having a hard time with Sumner County and TBI for a while, until like I really stepped back and thought about it from like if this were a military investigation and somebody was missing or whatnot, like the oh my god, was it Vanessa Gillion who went missing in Texas? If I were running that investigation, like I wouldn't want, and I knew that there was somebody out there who did something potentially, I wouldn't want them knowing what I was doing. So of course I want to tell the public, oh, searching the landfill was a precautionary measure. You don't get a warrant for a precautionary measure. You need probable cause to get a warrant, and that's what I explained to people. You have to. You have to go to a judge and you have to present your case, and it's like, this is why I believe this. Here's the evidence I have to support this theory. And the judge approves or disapproves. So there's a lot that goes into a warrant.
Well, that's what I found, so enlightening about you and Jennifer Coffindapper, and just listening to people that actually have experience and knowledge, and they do research, because a lot of people I just don't think are even trying.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of people mixed up in true crime that are kind of just like storytellers, right? I don't know how you would say it. Not that they're
I
bad
know
or
what you
they're,
mean.
or ill-intended, but they're not, like they're not looking into all that stuff.
Right. And it's just, I'm glad you actually listened to the interview, because some people were just like, oh my God, I can't stand her face or her voice. I'm like, well, then don't listen to me. Or just like, it's just weird. I like Jennifer Coffindapper. I think she's very nice. People give her a hard time. She's like, oh, she did farming or whatever. I don't care. She still did a lot of research. She still went to the same academy as every single other agent out there. She knows how to run investigations. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm a military police officer, but I went to the same basic training as everyone else. I learned the same basic soldiering skills.
Yeah.
What about the lights moving behind the house? Are you referring to like the quote unquote alleged flashlights? I'm not sure if that's
Okay.
what you're talking about.
One of the things I find to be really interesting too is how so many people, love to be judgmental and saying all this and that and saying, oh, this person doesn't this and this person doesn't that, and it's like, okay, just take it for what it's worth, because this is coming from people that literally only have YouTube skills, right?
Mm-hmm. And like I keep saying, think of how fast they came out to debunk that one video that SF put out with the shadow thing. They came out within what, hours of that video being
Yeah.
released?
Very quick.
Which makes me feel like I'm sure he sent it to law enforcement. I mean, if I were him, I would have also. And I know it wasn't like the news, but I feel like when we present big theories, if it was really a definite no or something like for law enforcement to freak out about, they would have freaked out about anything we were saying with the landfill search. But little Miss Sharon, I think it was. All I know is that two lights are going away from their intended start point. I'll say that, and only one's coming back. And from what I was told on the overlay mob crew, it looks like that's the same exact track Canine Max went.
Let me pull it up.
Personally, I think I'm not saying it was Katie or who it was, but personally, I think allegedly, in my opinion, I think somebody led Sebastian away from the house. He got in a vehicle or something, and somebody walked back the exact same path, knowing that canines would be deployed the next day. And sometimes people think I can mess up a canine by like going back and forth, so it looks like a one-way track. all you're doing is making it worse. Because like, think about like if you're running through like, think about if you're like walking through like sand on the beach. Let's say you're walking towards the ocean and you walk back the exact same path. Your path is going to be like more prominent because you walk back and forth the same path. It's the same thing for a canine scent. You're walking back and forth. So if anything, that's what when Max, and I don't know why there's this. Max started from the house. Like even Chris, who was on the phone with law enforcement, this was happening, talked about it. But what doesn't make, I think that was Rex that started somewhere else. I don't think that was Max. I don't know what it was. You have to take the tracking canine to the last known location of the person that went missing. It makes no sense for him to start off at the pond. I think that was Rex or somebody else. I don't think that was Max. Max is mostly black. If you look at him, and if you look at the Sumner County deputy uniform, it's. I don't know if he's watching because I guarantee you, if he is, he's going to come at me next. You know what? I don't care. He can do whatever he wants. But I'm just saying. I think
You're allowed to speculate. I read our disclaimer. You're allowed to speculate. Our disclaimer
I think
for the show.
I think that was Rex, which is the other Sumner County canine. It just doesn't make sense for Max to not start off at the house. And also, in the beginning, when I was talking to Max, started at the house. I'm just going to leave it at that. And people keep saying,
Yep.
People keep saying like we could request the body cam footage. No, because I guarantee you, since Max was the first one on site and he was at the house, that's going to be, if this ever does go to court, that's going to be saved for that because
Absolutely.
A YouTuber tried to made. Yeah, it's very hard to fool a tracking canine. A scent can get lost because someone gets in a car or a boat with Lacey Peterson, Stacy Peterson. I always mess up her name. It's Lacey Peterson, right? Scott Peterson's wife. Is it Lacey Peterson?
Yeah, Lacey.
I always mess this up. Yeah.
Oh wait.
The canine. His wife, the pregnant wife, the one missing. But a canine tracked to that dock. Lacey, okay. A canine tracked to that dock, and the scent got lost, and we know where she was found eventually, so we know that he took her out there. So I mean, I trust dogs more than people, 100%. Yeah, peanut butter sandwich. Gator, what I do with him is when I take him to rehab to do searches, because they usually clear the areas, I'll walk him in the room and I'll tell him just come in for search. He doesn't even care about the peanut butter because he knows he's going to be doing his, and I mean, I can't take credit for that. He was trained before he was partnered with me, but I mean, he doesn't care about peanut butter. He doesn't care about anything else except for what he's supposed to be looking for. Then afterwards, after I break him free of his command, I'll give him a treat or a ball or something as a reward.
Oh.
Isn't that sus too? Are you referring to the one coming back? Sorry, little Miss Sharon. I got lost for a second there in my description.
I'm trying to find Mob that made a really good video.
Yeah, when he commented on my video asking if he could use my video, I was like, "Are you?" I was like, "Is this the real guy?" I was embarrassed. I was like, "Okay, I hate my voice."
Aw. Yeah, I don't like hearing my voice after when it's recorded and stuff.
I think your voice is cute though. I think you have the adorable happy voice that you just do.
Well, I think the same with you. That's what I mean. I think we're so different on ourselves, right? We're so critical, very critical. We're our own worst enemies. That's what I've always been told. We always hear ourselves different. We think we come across certain ways, and then it's that's why I tune out the hate, because I know where it's coming from and the stuff that you've always done, and it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You've done so many good things, and that's why I'm happy when I see you come back, because I'm like, thank God, because you know what you're doing, and the pups deserve to be seen too. Their work needs to be shown off.
Yeah, sorry, little Miss Sharon. If it's is that suspicious though? I mean, I think absolutely 2 lights going on, one coming back. Yeah, I absolutely think it is.
I think they're very sus.
Oh
What
yes, I
concerns
do. I
me
think they're
is,
very. I think they're very suspicious. Sorry, I was.
oh
It
no,
was. I
don't talk.
was getting confused for a second. I think they're very suspicious, especially since 2 go out and 1 come back. Like I just think it's very weird. And I did she mention the keychain flashlight after this video came out, or was it mentioned before? I can't remember.
I think they said it before, but they also said it was because law enforcement asked about it because they thought he could have left at night.
But a keychain flashlight wouldn't make that bright light, though. You know what I mean? Like a keychain flashlight would not
No,
illuminate that. Like if it's supposed to be like a little thing you get from like a vendor table, that's those are barely functional. I mean,
no.
I
In
don't
some
know.
other interview, they said that it wasn't working or something. In one of the other 5-6 hour long, combos on one of the live streams. But they said law enforcement had asked about it, which makes sense, right? You're going to say, well, could he have taken a flashlight since it's dark, right? Did he take another phone? Is there a tablet? All the things,
Yeah,
What
I don't
concerns
think he
me
ran away. I don't think.
it's not evidentiary
And
value.
if you know, and I keep telling people this, a lot of people push the barefoot narrative. Somebody asked Sheriff Credit that question on February 27th, and he said, what I can say is the mother said all issues were accounted for, and he said, I cannot confirm that he was barefoot, and the interview's out there. So,
Oh, yeah, I played it before.
yeah.
Yeah, he didn't say he was definitely
So
barefoot.
I mean, he could have had socks on, like, the slipper socks. He could have had slippers on. He could have had anything.
Exactly.
I just, it's just, I don't even like, sometimes like in the mornings, I'll go out and stand in the grass with the whole, it's a, what's the thing? What's it called? It's not, yeah, touch grass, but it's like whatever the earthing is called. Like every once in a while, like if I'm really stressed out or you know, I'll go out and do that and just relax and breathe and focus my breathing. But I don't really like walking on I mean, grass is one thing, but like across gravel and mud and it just, I don't like it.
No, then that's why they
Yeah, see, KJ
implied
Mack
that.
gets me. Thank you, KJ Mack.
And that's why when it was
I just
implied
be
that
careful with
he
what.
went to the playground, I'm like, there's no way not on that road. You've seen that road, right? When you've been to Tennessee, there is no way
Yep.
that any kid or any teenager or any person is going to walk down that road towards that playground in that terrain. No way. And they would have been seen.
I mean, I'm not
It's
going to
not
say
like it's in the middle of nowhere.
I agree. And I'm not going to say SF was lying when he said this, but when he said construction didn't stop that day, I just want to know, could he put
Yes.
something out, like a statement or like a video or something? Because I find it hard to believe that. I mean, I'm not saying, again, SF real estate, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just asking for clarification because if you would think that if all these cops and the biggest search ever, or why would they still be running equipment? You know what I mean? It just, I don't. It just
Well,
seems
the
odd,
dispatch
that's all.
was that they were stopping it. It was even in the dispatch audio.
They said they were stopping or weren't stopping?
They were. They said something about going to
Oh,
a
I didn't.
construction site. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, see, why would,
I have it saved. I can search the
unless law
transcript.
enforcement cleared that entire area and then they started again? It's just, that was weird. I'm like, why would, if a kid went missing in my neighborhood and there was when we do military funeral honors and there's guys across the street doing construction and we have we play taps and whatnot, somebody will walk across the street and tell the guys, hey, can you stop first? That's just for taps. That's not you're talking about a missing kid. I just find it odd that nobody would go up and be like, hey, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the workers have to get out and help and whatnot because they might not be able to, but in Pennsylvania, you have to have a spotter to move any type of heavy equipment, with cones and a vest and whatnot, to make sure you're not backing into something or over something. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Little Miss Sharon, I haven't heard from them directly. I haven't seen interviews with them directly. All I heard was FSF said that construction hadn't stopped that day, but in the dispatch audio, Mom said that
I'm
they
pulling it
were
up.
going to
I
stop
know.
it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
They definitely said.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's just all weird. And again, when you go back and reanalyze these things, certain people like shoot you down right away, and it's just odd. It's like, why would you not want to like? Detectives go back over evidence all the time. That's why the Cold Case Foundation exists with like Chris McDonough. He goes back over stuff that detectives previously did, and everything else. You have to.
It's weird.
I'm sure I've missed a bunch of stuff, and speaking of missing stuff, I was a smart ass the one time, so I'm like 3 credits shy of getting my master's degree. So for one of my papers, I didn't know what the professor was actually reading our papers, so I actually put halfway through the one page, I wonder if this is even being read. And then I kept on going with what I think it was about. What the heck was the paper about? I think it was about like your behavior analysis and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember what it was. And he actually circled it, put a smiley face next to it. I'm just like, oh, so he is actually reading the papers.
Oh, jeez.
I agree, KJ Mac. I don't know. It just, I have to be careful with what I say because I was involved from the beginning. I have talked to both sides, and it was pointed out to me specifically, you're more than likely going to have to, come down and attest to some things, especially since I sent the full audio to TBI of my call. Yeah, I want to
Can you
answer
imagine
honestly
how
back
many
to
they
Jeff.
have?
Chris from Cold
Calls they
Case
must
has not
have.
stepped in yet. Yeah, I was just using it as an example, little Miss Sharon. I was just like pointing out, like, for example, he goes back over stuff. It just like, okay, and like the Lori Vallow Daybell case for the Arizona case, Detective Muffet was originally assigned, and then like he got promoted, so a new detective came in and started back from step one, if that makes sense. Sorry.
In the transcript for that.
Mhm. It'd be interesting to hear.
I don't know who the heck's channel this is, though. I got to go pull up the one I have saved in my notes because I don't trust a lot of, like, if I don't know what channel it is, you don't know if it's been edited.
Mhm.
Current under construction sites that they're working on, and they report back. Go ahead. Who do you want to go with this other canine search and rescue? Temple. There's the can. HFG down here at the end of the road. I'm going to direct them to the pond. 12. Go ahead. I just talked to the GC, the construction bacteria. He's going to start getting the word out to all his crews that are out here working. Temple, thank you. He's going to have them check all their current under construction sites that they're working on, and then report back. Temple is associated with 1008 staff report. Supposed to be coming back to 1008 staff report. So
I got to check this. I don't remember it said like this. I'm not even going to lie. I got to go find
I don't
all the,
remember
like,
that either. I don't remember the part either.
this is not the same. So I don't know who the heck's channel this is because when I Google, when I search right
When
here,
was this one posted?
this was April 2nd, 2024. And there's 2 parts. That doesn't
Oh my
even
god.
sound that doesn't even sound the same to me. I'm gonna have to go get the one I saved. See, what annoyed me is I bought the subscription for the year for the Broadcastify, and I've done that several times over the years because then you could listen to anything. It's all stored,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's gone after a year, and I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't
Like,
know
it's
that
not
either.
even
I was
that.
thinking maybe I thought maybe it was pulled for other reasons, but I think Michelle After
No, it's
Dark's
actually
used
a
this
policy.
channel's audio before.
It's actually a policy. It's only a year. I read all their
Jeez, that's
things. I
weird.
emailed them. I was like, oh gosh, now I got to know that in general because I've used it, in the past for things. Nothing like that. Nothing like a missing child dispatch. But
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why construction would, like I said, wouldn't stop.
I don't know. I just
It's
find it hard to believe that. I gotta find it. I know I heard it somewhere.
well, he did mention it there too. He said he was notifying the construction guys. They're gonna I know it sounded like he was gonna get the guys to stop, but I mean, yeah, I guess if there's another audio thingy, but it's just I don't
Yeah, I'm
remember
gonna
hearing
look
that
for the
before.
other one. I'm just gonna look for the other one real quick because I don't know why that
Hi,
didn't
Castle.
sound. But you know, they were all staticky and stuff, so who knows? It could have been cleared up better. I don't know, but I'd like to hear the one that everybody was playing, Mock Crew, Justin. I know I have that one saved everywhere too. There's just so much on Sebastian's case that it's just a mess now.
Mm-hmm.
My organizational stuff, you know, it's like a muck because there's just so many things. So it's like, oh, I think I have something over here. I think it's over here. And no, I don't. It's in like one of the 50 different notes that I have in my word pad.
Yeah.
Because I like to search Control F and then you can search everything, you know, and it's quick.
I don't know why there's also a certain person saying that Max's handler was not controlling his canine. That's crock, because I'll tell you something. If Gator's on a track, like, Max uses a harness like in a long line, just like Gator does. Max doesn't run off leash. You don't want that for a tracking canine, just for multiple reasons. Because you don't want them to like get caught up in the track and get hurt, or you work your canine because you want that push pull method. So when the canine's driving forward and they're pulling you, if it's a track they don't have, they're just going to be sniffing in circles. But that's one sure sign of like he's on something. Max was running, obviously. You can hear the handler out of breath, but he wasn't not controlling his canine. First of all, dogs have 4 legs. I have 2. So obviously the dog's faster than me and I'm keeping up, but that's not out of control. I mean, you want that canine pulling you when they're on a track. That's a surety for me personally. But he wasn't out of control. Out of control would be him redirecting and biting his handler or something like that. That's out of control. And even still, as a handler, you should know how to handle that if your canine's doing that. But they realistic should not be redirecting or anything.
Exactly. Oh, this is so strange. I'm pulling, like when you search for it, it shows so many different images that I've never seen before with the audio. It's very odd. Very interesting. Very interesting.
I think he was on a scent, Miss Sharon. I researched Max and his trainer and the handler and I go to the same conference actually. And this year's in South Carolina. He wasn't there this year, but we all go to the same canine conference for training. Typically with Max, I think it's 5. So Max was certified and worked previously before being assigned to his new handler. So there's this rumor like, oh, he was a dual purpose narcotics and non-aggressive tracking. So they were certified as a team and they had been for some time. If he was a puppy and like he was trying to figure things out, I would say he's being a dog. Or if he like lost the scent, got up, walked in a couple circles, and all of a sudden saw there was a pond, took a drink, and then jumped in, I'd be like, he's being a dog. But he went right for that. Like he tracked with his head to the ground, and then he dove in. I don't think he jumped in like the dispatch audio made it seem, and based off of what I know from people who were there day one, Max's head was down on the ground. He was going, and then like the track just like he went into the pond. He didn't like say wee and just jump in. You know what I mean? So his head was
Exactly.
down. He was tracking. He literally ran into it. I think people made it sound like he like stopped and then just jumped in, which is what I initially thought until I talked to the trainers. And talked to people day one. That day, he put his head down and went. So yeah, Max is a scent specific canine. I'm sorry, Mom, and just keep talking, but how this works is a ground disturbance canine starts at ground 0 or the last known location. So Max started at the house. And Chris Proudfoot describes the path to me. He described the North Divers, and then like Greg Hughes did this whole thing, and like it all lines up with the lights that you see and the overlay. But Max, so he tracked away from the house, and he was looking for the freshest, cleanest scent. That's why you have to shut down the scene immediately when there's a missing person. You don't want a bunch of people going in and out of the house. you shut down the scene, so whatever the path was, you want that canine to follow it. Scent specific canines will be given like a shoe or a shirt or a something, and then they get the odor and they follow a track based off of that. A scent specific canine is looking for like ground disturbance, which is why he tracked right to that pond. That's why I think he went to the pond, got in a car, because I asked both Seth and Chris, I said, is there enough room at that, this before I went there, is there enough room next to that retention pond for a car to park? And they both told me yes. So
That
yeah,
makes sense,
if you
right? I mean, that's just deductive reasoning from the facts as we would see it publicly. Not saying it's been confirmed as facts, but it's
KJ
the
might
best
be tracked.
hypothesis I could come up with would be that they got into a car.
KJ Mac, yes and no, but keep in mind Max was tracking the trail that was taken, the direction of travel, so his head was down. Tracking canines, their nose is always supposed to be to the ground because they're following that track. Tracking canine, a trailing canine, or scent specific, they'll pick their head up and they'll like open their mouth and air sniff, that type of thing. So I mean, he was head down. I think he literally was on a track that was so strong that he just like ran right into the water. But I mean, if you're saying if a person were laying in the water, I mean, he's going for the track and then he just went right in. But yeah, the odor is still going to be there for a canine. Canines can smell 3 million times better than we can.
Well, I
if
was
that makes
watching
sense.
they tracked people that are put in cars, even. I can't find this. This is bizarre.
In the car after that, it's just like it's been closed. There was like a cop that the leash is out the window and the dog was running next to the car, and I was just like, I don't know if it actually works, maybe, but I've never seen. But I mean, then again, we have robots walking around delivering pizzas, so I mean, it could happen, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look later because I can't believe this. I can't find the other audios. The other channel have the audios.
Yeah, I'll look too and see if I can find it so I can send it to you. But thanks again for having
because
me.
I
Emily,
really think
because
it sounded different. That's weird to me. I want to listen to the other one.
yeah, I'm just I I don't know why they wouldn't shut down a construction site. It seems odd. Like I said, if we were to, like in my
Especially with
neighborhood,
everybody there, you would think that would be the parents, the neighbors. Somebody would be saying something at the time, even, right? I mean, it just the helicopters. Wonder if we could go back. I'll have to look later since it's getting, we're getting tired.
I just don't see law
the
enforcement
helicopters-
allowing it to continue unless they cleared the area. I just don't see law enforcement allowing them to keep moving this big. Again, I don't know. I'd have to. I don't know what SF has or who he talked to, but I mean, I'd be interested to see. Not like he's gonna share, but I mean, just I'm allowed to question, just like he is, So it is what it is.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, people keep saying Max was in training. He wasn't in training. He was certified with his handler. I even showed his profile. I think you even showed it a couple times. He wouldn't have been out there on the track if they weren't. You have to be a certified canine team to do anything like that. Because otherwise, if it goes to court, you're in deep doo doo basically. So.
KJ was asking about the scent in the water. Did you answer that already when I was looking?
I think I did. Yeah, as I said, his head was down. So I said yes and no. If she's talking about like if someone got rid of a medication, then yeah, Max was a narcotics canine. He would have still smelt it as long as he was trained for prescription medication. Gator knew certain prescription meds. And as far as I don't know. I still to this day don't know where Steph came from. She came out of nowhere, and people thought it was weird that I was like, "Oh, let's get an Airbnb." I had no idea who she was, and I was just trying to be like, "Can I handle some of a bond?" And like, she had me fooled, and I was just
Should
trying to
be
be nice, to
nice.
be like, "Oh, mhm." I don't
Yeah.
know, but if you notice, he was all about the canine track up until Seth said, "Here's her credentials. This is this." And then that's when it changed to scent dogs are only 25% accurate. I'm like, why were you all about it up until this point? And then he even says in the audio that both TBI and Summer County said my
You're
credentials were legit.
real.
It's like,
Yeah. You have legit
I mean,
skills and you have legit knowledge, right? Even somebody
yeah,
that
people
may
made
not
fun of me.
be certified, if you're truly like knowledgeable, it just seemed like it was really to me it's disturbing when you were run off. It was just I didn't like it at all.
Hey, Salty. I
Like
yeah, I don't
even
know.
if
Some
it
people
wasn't for
don't get
you to search, right? Even if they didn't feel comfortable with
mm,
that, whatever, right? I mean, I would never, in my opinion, I can't imagine ever saying no. But you would want somebody that you could at least have explain things, right? And help, because that's just going to keep Sebastian's story out there and keep it going. So wouldn't you want somebody credible to present
yeah, and
information in a factual way?
people kept saying I was trying to go into medicine cabinets. That's not how that discussion went. And I'll put this audio out there if I have to from my call with Chris. What happened was I said to both Chris and Seth, I said this to both of them. I asked them both. I said, do you know how like narcotics canines work? And they both said, no, well, I know they find like Mary Jane and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, Canine Gator can find prescription medications. And I said this to both of them. Like I said, I have this audio recorded. I want to be fair. I said, if by some circumstance Sebastian's being hidden in somebody's home, meaning, I know he needs his medication, Canine Gator's going to tell me if it's in the house. So
Yeah.
even and like Chris said to me, he said, "Well, what if it's like he's like, can you tell that?" Chris said, "Can you tell that apart from like, let's say it's in a bathroom where they've got like Advil and Tylenol?" I'm like, no, he's not looking for those. He's looking for like controlled substances. That's the odor she's put it on. So that's how that whole. I don't know how that turned into. I'm gonna steal their medication because it's first of all, no. Second of all, I'm in the army. I get drug tested like literally monthly, and it's just like what? So I'm not throwing away my career over something stupid. And also, I don't
So
want
you're going
someone
to go
else.
to somebody's home just to get some controlled
Mm,
ADD type medicine. That makes so much sense.
no, Miss Sharon, I'm talking about like two kind of separate. I was saying people have asked me if prescription meds were thrown in the lake or pond, whatever, could Max have detected it? And I said if he was trained in prescription meds, then yeah, he could have. But I mean, I think he was just tracking a scent that led to that area, and he just was head first, went into the pond. He didn't stop and then jump in. He went head first into that pond. So
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. It didn't sound like he stopped at all. It sounded like,
No, it's not like he stopped and was like, "Well, this looks like a fun place to kick it," and he just jumped in. He literally was head first, went into it because his head was down. He was sniffing. So
it's not how the dogs work either. Not to
he,
just stop in the middle of a job and go have fun. They're
I
not
can't see.
human.
I can't see. I mean, if it's a well-trained dog, canine should not be doing that. But I mean, like I said, if it was like a puppy, like Bellatrix, she's a puppy.
Oh
She's
yeah.
not fully understanding. I could see her doing something like that. Just be like, she'd probably run over if anything and drink it at first because she'd be like, because she's obsessed with water, and then she'd be like, cool. But Gator wouldn't do that. Ara wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that though. But
I
yeah,
don't
you
think
have to
they.
keep in mind
Yeah.
they're 3 million times better than us when it comes to scent. So I mean, think of how like something like with people, some people have really good noses. Ray has like a great nose. Like we'll walk into like a shop and he'll like whatever the air freshener or whatever is instantly. And even if like I smell it a little bit, it's like overwhelming for him. Think about it as for canines. Like their noses are like they're like everything.
Can you imagine? I
I
don't
hope
know.
that made sense.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they're discrediting. To me, it's just odd.
They're
I don't know.
discrediting all the dogs now. That's why I'm like, what is this? Stop.
And people are repeating it. I'm like, stop saying there's no scent. There was no specific scent of Sebastian, correct? Because Ken Widener said none of them, my understanding, led to Sebastian. Well, obviously not. Sebastian wasn't found. It didn't lead to him, but that doesn't mean it didn't follow his track. You know what I mean? We can't confirm who it was. I wish we could give Max the collar from the movie Up, like Doug the dog had, and just be like, tell us exactly what you know. See what Max said.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They weren't scent specific, right? That was the problem. So without them being able
Max
to tell
was
you,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, Max was not, and Rex was not. It wasn't until like that Bloodhound came later. I think that one was scent specific. I didn't talk to that specific handler. I just saw all about her. I think she was a search and rescue person, or she was from EMA. I don't remember where she was from, but I know that Bloodhound was scent specific. And again, scent specific canines do really article search, as they can be called, do really well in like city locations because they're looking for a specific person amongst a crowd of people. So you give them like if I give Gator like mom and shirt, and we were walking through Center City, Philadelphia, he's looking for you. Now a ground disturbance canine, that's not gonna go, like, it's not gonna know what to do. It's gonna be tracking way too many people, too much foot traffic. So yeah, Max was not given Sebastian's clothes to smell. That's why I said Max is not scent specific. The Bloodhound who came later, I forget what his name was. I think it starts with an R. I don't remember. That canine was. And Agent Simmons told me he was given a pillowcase, a shirt, a shoe, and I forget what else. But that was the search and rescue Bloodhound. Max is a German Shepherd Malinois mix, and then Rex is a German Shepherd. So they're a little bit sharing. You can Google Sumner County canines, and both their pictures will pop up, and you can see what they look like.
I'll show you real quick.
They're so cute. And yeah, on Instagram, Max is. I whited out the handler name because they don't want people being weird in contact with the handler, but I guess people did that anyway. I'm just like, can you guys just like leave the poor man alone? Like he was doing his job that day.
Oh wait, that's Florida. Hold on, I almost showed you the wrong one. Oops.
I don't.
Yeah, I'll never understand.
I can send you the link to his profile in the back chat. I just realized that the back chat existed. I'm like, oh shit, I can send messages back here.
I always forget about it too.
Hold on. Let's see.
The two of them on the phone app.
Let me see.
A little app.
Oh, Max had a bust recently, according to their Instagram page. Hold on. Yay, Max. He's so cute. I'm biased. Let me see. Okay. Yep, here it is. I'll send this to you in back chat so you can see it.
Yeah, how does that work when the dogs are first on the scene? They just let them go and they just know to follow this precious scent? Most of the time? I always wondered, like, how do you get out a scent?
I sent you the link in back chat. Basically, like for Gator, for example, I'm not going to say his actual work. He's going to start doing it in the house. So I'll take Gator to the area, like the front porch or like a side door or something, and I'll give him his like search word, and I'll point to the ground. And usually he's smart enough to know I'm looking for this track. If you look in the paragraph, it says what he's certified in. That's Max, and the next photo is Rex.
Oh.
Look how cute he is.
Oh.
He's so handsome.
It says the Sumner County's office in Gallatin, Tennessee has received their new canines Max and Rex. Max works alongside Handler, well, at the time, right? Because this was August 24th, 2023. Deputy.
No, that
I
was
don't
when he
want
first came to. That was when he first
Yeah.
came to Sumner County. They were
I don't want to say
certified at this
the name.
point in time, so yeah.
Both
Well,
canines
people
have
have
been
already
trained,
like bothered him anyway. I'm just like, oh my god, people. I'm like, why do you have to like leave him alone?
right?
The one was given Sebastian's clothes. This one didn't pick anything up, even in the driveway. I can't confirm that, Miss Sharon, 'cause I'm not sure. I didn't speak to that handler. I've heard so many different things. I just
Yeah.
obviously they were getting hits inside the house, and obviously they were getting hits in the yard, but like it didn't. When you have a scent specific canine, he's looking for that end target. So it's not like a tracking canine. A tracking canine is following that track to like to see where it ends, or but like a scent specific canine. If I give, let's say again, give mom and shirt to Gator, Gator's gonna hit the shirt. He's looking for her. So if he can't find her, he's not getting his like she's not there. So there's no
Mhm.
when people say hits with scent specific canines, that's kind of like it's a weird term because the hit would be finding the person or an alert as we would call it. I mean, since Sebastian wasn't found, was there a residual odor hit? There could have been. I can't answer that 100%, to be honest with you. I think I know who that handler definitely is, and I'll reach out and see what she might not be able to tell me a whole lot because it's an ongoing investigation, but I'll reach out and see what she says. But yeah. That's Max. He's so cute.
Yeah, and it said they tracked successfully a SUICDA case,
Mm-hmm.
this code word on YouTube can stop. It really does. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. They're both really beautiful. Oh,
Yeah, and when non-aggressive tracking means they're used to find endangered or missing persons. Because remember when SF was saying there's no such thing as a forest protection canine. If anything, it's a patrol canine. Patrol canines are not non-aggressive tracking certified. That means they're looking for a missing or endangered person. Because when they find the person, you don't want them apprehending them like they would a fugitive. You want them finding and alerting, hey, this is where the person is. So that's what non-aggressive tracking means. He's not going to bite somebody at the end of the track or apprehend. He's looking just to find the missing person. So
Tammy's saying so it could have been anyone sent.
Yes.
For those two. Yeah.
But keep in mind where he tracked to the pond. So if my theory, which is where I think he was led out to that pond and somebody walked back, he followed somebody to that area. It's not like he followed an animal. He's looking for the human odor. So he followed something to that pond. So
It's always bothered me.
Yeah, I have my own
It's
theories.
not even technically the same pond now, right?
Yeah, they drained it, and I don't even know if it exists anymore because it's been so long.
That's what I mean, because of all the construction. I don't even think.
Well, I don't think I honestly don't think he was in there or something was in there. I think that there was a car, if anything.
Sure seems to be. But with the dates being changed, that could pose an issue with it being submittable evidence, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's why no evidentiary value. So
that's what I've always wondered and worried in the back of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I was giving credit. I mean, I wasn't online doing it, but I was thinking, what the heck is he doing? But I mean, if you really think about it, he's got to be careful, especially with how like this is online right now and how people are in the community. I just like you got to be careful.
Yeah, because every single thing has 10 different contradictory things floating around, right?
Mm-hmm.
On top of it. That I don't like. I don't like how like you can see that all the way back to the beginning. It seems very, I don't know, defense attorney-ish, like
Mhm. Well, yeah, I just in case you want to answer your question, yes and no, but remember Max started his trek at the house and he followed it his nose to the ground. You can hear the handler, he's out of breath. So the entire Max had a hold on something from it was a track, not like a point A and point B. So he followed point A, put his nose to the ground and kept on going to the pond, if that makes sense. I'm not sure, Miss Sharon. That's beyond my I don't think they would tell us honestly because they want to keep that that's something they probably want to keep under wraps because the shoe size changed and a bunch of other stuff. So
yeah, and there's such weird statements on Fox about the shoes.
yeah.
All of
Well,
our shoes are accounted for. I was like, why are we talking about your shoes?
yeah,
Are
that
you
was
missing?
emphasized quite a bit too. It was just a little odd. There's a lot of odd statements that have been made if you go back and look, like certain information that's been disclosed.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I said, and I said this in my landfill video, which people whatever I guess ignored. I said I don't think that they unalived him. I think if anything, he
Yeah,
was taken into the car and like I think somebody has him. I really do. I don't know who it is. I just don't think.
guilty knowledge is what I'd always go.
Mhm. I just
Possibly.
I don't know. As weird as people think that like Katie's behavior is, I don't see it in her to like. I just don't. I mean, I just there's people act. I just she's not and like fight the fight and whatnot. I just don't see her having it. I don't know. There's some videos I see of her and Sebastian, like at the video game thing when like for his birthday, when like she like did that cute thing with where she like pointed her eyes and pointed his eyes, like I'm watching you type. Like I don't know. I think I think you know what I mean. I think that other family members don't have the love for Sebastian. Obviously, Katie does. If that makes sense. I think that like
Hmm.
from the marital side, I'll put it that way. Seth obviously loves Sebastian. I think Katie loved her son. I just think I know people watch streams, so I'm just being careful. So I just don't know. It's weird.
I gotcha.
I still don't know why in that one panel with Truth, they just went in the back chat and they said it was you. I was just like, what the heck? Why did she come into like what? It was so weird.
That whole thing.
When was that interview?
That was in December because that's when I started to sit down and go over all the interviews because I was like, well, we're gonna keep bringing me up. You know what I mean? Like this is ridiculous now. So, and there was a lot of odd, other things happening that had nothing to do with YouTube online. Like it was just weird. You have no idea. I'll send you the pictures of what
Mhm.
yesterday was like. Yesterday took the topping of the cake.
Aw,
I had a
yeah.
cop come over to me that had like a covering on the police, the side of the police car, like a white
Aw.
magnetic thing. Not even kidding. And thankfully, I was talking to somebody on the phone, so I was able to do a video because I knew if I touched the phone, it was going to change the encounter, right? Because they're going to know you're filming.
Mhm.
So they were able to watch because we were on the audio, but you know how you
Yeah.
can turn on the FaceTime camera? So I just hit the button. I'm like, take pictures, record, whatever you got to do.
Mhm.
I'm like, this is the craziest thing. I've never seen a cop car like that.
Yeah.
Ever. Very weird. But yeah, I wasn't on the panel. And you know how they feel about breaking the internet. So that was just real nice,
That was so weird. I'm just like, he named you by name, like you're full, like he obviously knows who you are. So I mean, it was just weird to me. I'm
Yeah, I should
just
have been a
less.
nobody.
yeah, the last two things. I think KJ Max said because someone throwing electronics. Max is an electronic search canine, so he wouldn't have picked up on an electronic being discarded. Keep in mind, Max is only doing narcotics and human disturbance, like a track. And then Stammy said the scent started at the house because he went to the last known location. I think that was Rex or another dog that was in that one video. It does not make sense for Max for them to be like, oh, he was last seen here, but let's drive up the street, get out here. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. I think that was Rex, and people mistook. I mean, I think they look very different, but I guess on a grainy camera, they can look similar. I don't know. Oh yeah, they could pick a person going to the, yeah, absolutely. They could pick up a person walking that direction. Because the track. I'm not in the fan club, and I don't think Mom is either. So, I mean, I don't know, Sammy, if you watched the interviews in the very beginning when he's first missing and watched the behavior and how sad she is, I noticed a significant change by the time the Chronicles of Olivia interview came around where they were sitting at the table. There's a huge behavioral difference between those two interviews. I have my suspicions as to why they could possibly be. I don't want to say them on here, but I don't know. It was very weird because when she was self-soothing and rocking back and forth, and then it's just like, I don't know. There's
Oh my
something
God.
more going on. I think I don't want to get into theories, but
Yeah, very concerning to
watching
me
how she was
too long.
Mhm.
That's what worries me. That people are thinking certain things, right? You know, being afraid, whatever theory you can come up with. It's May. It's May. It's
Yeah.
freaky. You
And
know? Pray for
yeah,
her. I
little
pray
Miss
for them
Sharon, I
all.
really hope that's not the case here. And yeah, I understand it's a reality. I just hope and pray that's not the case. I just think there's just a lot of family stuff we don't know about as like a public just yet, but I'm sure it's all going to come out eventually. I have faith in TBI, and I really do in Sumner County. I just think that they have to act a certain way because of the social media presence. So it's frustrating, and if for those of you who remember Skylar Niece, I'm actually friends with their family. Her father was going through this turmoil every day, thinking law enforcement wasn't doing anything. But in the meantime, they're investigating her two best friends who turned out to be the ones who did unalive her. Freaking Sheila and Rachel. But yeah, he thought nothing. He didn't know what was going on, and no one was telling him anything. But the entire time they were doing stuff. And because the father was so protective of the best friends, because Skylar viewed them as like her sisters, they didn't want him to know what was going on because like they knew it'd be like an emotional thing, but they were acting very suspicious, and it turned out law enforcement was right. So I think back to Skylar's case a lot. If you don't know her, Skylar Niece is her name. I'm good friends with Dave and Mary, her parents. Marley, my exposed canine, her middle name is Skylar, actually after Skylar. So we go out to her site at least twice a year and leave her flowers because she was unalived. Yeah, her best friends tricked her. She snuck out in the middle of the night, which there's some parallels to Sebastian's case, but not a whole bunch. But she snuck out in the middle of the night. They went from West Virginia to Blacksville, Pennsylvania. They went in the woods. They were gonna smoke Mary Jane, and then they said, "Oh, we forgot our lighter. Can you go to the car and get it?" When Skylar went to get it, the two girls ambushed her and with kitchen things. Yeah.
Those the ones that were trying to be the smiley face thing, or was that different?
No, that's something different. And then Skylar was different, but then Skylar's last words were apparently why, because she didn't know why her best friends were doing that to her. And then they left her in the woods for like 8 months and pretended to search with the family. That's how messed up it was.
God.
So I hope that the one got life in prison. The other one has like 30 years with like parole. I hope she does her full 30. She should not get paroled. Like, you don't do that.
That's next level, like psychotic. To go searching like that. With
Oh yeah, the detective. The detective who I know who was like doing the detective I know who was doing Skylar's case said he was literally like he'd go out at night and he'd be afraid. Like he said the one girl he interviewed, Sheila, he was just like, I was afraid she was gonna be like high in the dark somewhere to like come and just get me. Cause like that's how freaked out this guy's like a 6'3", like well built detective. He's just like freaked, like it's just I don't know. He said you look into her eyes and there's just nothing there. Like nothing.
Jesus.
But yes, Skylar Niece is her name. She was 16 years old. It was I usually give a victim impact statement at the parole board, but Rachel, the one who got the 30 years, she was able to get her first parole hearing like 2 years ago. I read a letter. It was during COVID and it was over the phone. Last year it was like a Skype interview. They were going to do it in person this year, but she got in trouble for doing some dumb stuff, I guess, with another inmate, and then now she's not getting her parole board. So I'm like, I hope to goodness you don't ever get paroled until your 30 years are up, and then I don't know, maybe you'll get caught stealing something, and then you'll go back to prison again because what you did to Skylar was just unforgivable.
I don't know. That takes a level of something that is almost kind of hard to imagine that you can rehabilitate from that.
Yeah,
it's a long.
I'm sorry to talk your ear off. I'm gonna take Gator out one last time. We're gonna hit the road because we gotta leave here by like 7:30. But thank you for having me up here. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming up and clarifying.
Yeah, sorry to talk so much.
Not at all. I enjoy it.
It's just nice to talk sometimes, you know.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you have a good day and good sleep. And like, congrats again on your son with the graduating basic and moving on to AIT. That's a big accomplishment. So I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much. Well, drive safe.
All right. You have a good night. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, I'm sure I'd remember it too if I was. I need more sleep. Have a great time, KJ. Enjoy being outside. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, Sharon. That's scary. Hi, Castle. How are you? All right, guys. Well, I'm going to bed for a bit because my husband's going to wake up and he's going to be like, oh my God, you didn't go to sleep. So I definitely want to get out and take the kiddos out to the park and stuff. Hopefully drag him with me because it's easier. When it's just me, it's a little hard right now to have them out of the park. Because my daughter, I just can't with her. She keeps trying to take off. It's like freaks me out so bad. But I know I never thought she was going to have the communication ability, and she's doing really well. And so I know we'll get over this hurdle too. But I'm not really worried about like anything like people taking her. I'm worried about her getting hurt because, you don't like my eyes stay on her, but she's fast. I just worry about cars and traffic and, the lakes and the ponds. It just scares me because she'll just go. Yeah, Sammy G. If I recall that case with the girls, yes, that's what they said. They just didn't like her. Unbelievable. Oh, yes, I like when K9 Jules talks. It was really nice. She came on a couple months ago, and I've always had a problem being able to post it because somebody had come on earlier and they dropped the N-word. And, of course, that's not happening. So I had to edit it out, and it got stuck in, like, this purgatory of YouTube Studio. And I have to refresh myself. I have to learn how to edit the lives in the YouTube studio the proper way, because you can take pieces out. So like tonight, I'll probably take the beginning parts out because people will be bored with that. There's the delay with the StreamYard, so I'm not seeing your messages. I think they're a couple minutes behind. So I got to note this. And when I do a live, I have to remember to have the chat room opened on YouTube so that I'm seeing everything in real time. But I definitely have to put some time into listening to how to use the editing better, because I'm doing something wrong with the YouTube studio, definitely. But I thank her so much for coming up and talking and clarifying. I do, Sammy. But it's like 2 to 4 hour shifts because I have to do stuff for the baby with his babas, and he still needs them it's just like a whole thing. I cannot wait until the kids sleep through a full night. And then that's when I can work. I can't work during the day because I have to take them to their appointments, and I have to homeschool my middle guy now because he won't go to his class. That's been a whole debacle. It's just a lot. I cannot wait until the day comes that everybody sleeps through the full night. But I'm definitely my little girl's gonna start school, and I think that's gonna make a difference. Because now she can talk a little bit. I feel more comfortable. And honestly, I don't have a choice. She interacts and she socializes with the different therapies and the different little groups. But this whole monkey wrench that got thrown into everything with the baby, club feet is a very simple, common birth defect. And we were under the impression he had positional club feet because he was so squished in my uterus because I had muscle reconstruction years ago and, wasn't really meant to have any more children, but God decided, yes, I was. And then he was having this problem with his one foot, no matter what. They did the tendon lengthening, can't say it right, surgery. And then he had the bars and boots. And this one foot was just giving problems. So finally, we got a second opinion when we moved to Tennessee because New York was just ignoring it. And they found that his main artery and nerve endings, they did botched surgery in New York. So now he had to have major reconstructive surgery, and it was 2 days worth, and it was a nightmare a couple weeks ago. So he's going to have PT and a lot of stuff that we had no idea was coming. And I'm not going to be able to do both anymore, right? So it's going to be better for her and for him and for everybody if I let her go to school, and I have to just have faith that her one-on-one aide is going to be on top of her, and I have the tracker, the angel sense, and it's just scary. But I hear my little girl now, the princess has awoken. So I am going to go, I'll get her breakfast, and then I'm going to make sure my husband takes over so I can go to sleep. So I could go to sleep till maybe noon. I don't expect to get up because he is off. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Say a prayer that eventually I can get a nice night of REM. Oh, Sammy, you understand. You understand. Thank God. I'll be praying for you too. Believe me, I know what it's like. It's a constant stress, but also constant great. We're appreciative, but it's still a lot of stress. So I get it. Well, take care, Castle and Little Miss Sharon. And KJ, everybody that's been here, thanks for hanging out. You have a wonderful day.